anything that feels good today. I'm going to sit in my crisscross applesauce, letting the body settle onto the mat and find your place here. So we'll start off with a little bit of breath work as we get going here. Allow yourself to find the space of just space, right? So we'll start with that 3-part breath, bringing your right hand to your heart, your left hand to your belly. You can allow your eyes to close and maybe tucking your chin to create length up the back of the neck. It's a nice gentle stretch for the erector spinae muscles. And then as we inhale, lifting all the way through the crown of the head. You can keep the chin tucked, but feel the head reach towards the sky here. And then exhale completely through the nose. And then pausing briefly at the bottom. Starting the breath anew with a big inhale all the way in through the nose, filling all the way up into the belly space. Exhaling completely, keeping the lift through the crown of the head, pausing at the bottom. Continue to breathe in this 3-part breath and inhale, filling completely into all the corners of the torso. Complete exhale on your own cadence. Pausing at the bottom. As you move through these rounds of breath, start to feel the tension of your day melt away. Feel the entire week's worth of stress just melt. Making room for positivity and a happy outlook. Making room for what's to come. As we settle into these last several rounds of breath, becoming fully present, noticing your place on the mat, noticing how each breath feels. Coming in through the nose, maybe a little cooler air. Nourishing all those blood cells, and then exhaling, taking with it the toxins of life. Fully present and ready to begin your practice here. Go ahead and allow the hands to come down to the knees. Maybe lift the chin if you have it tucked and blink open the eyes. We're going to go ahead and take some gentle movement through the spine, creating some big circles. So use your hands to help you. We're going to lean over towards the right. So aiming your heart towards the right knee, being gentle because it's early this morning. And then as you exhale, sweeping across the top of the mat and over to the left. So letting the heart lead you here. And then just rocking side to side, sweeping across the front of your mat to the other side. And over towards the left. And over towards the right. So noticing how you feel. Make sure that you keep your booty snuggled onto the mat, like it's got a little suction cup there holding you down. Feel the legs as they start to open up. Start to connect the swaying side to side with your breath. We'll take just about 3 more here. Back to the left. Back to the right. And then coming through center and allowing yourself to roll up 1 vertebrae at a time through the spine, keeping the chin tucked as you come up, roll shoulders back and down. And we're just going to switch the orientation of the legs so we get a nice stretch evenly through the hip flexors here. So tucking the right foot behind or the opposite foot if you weren't sitting the same as me. or on top, whatever works for you. And then from here, we're going to take this side-to-side movement just a little bit differently. Left hand comes to the mat, right arm reaches up and over top. And then on your inhale, open up that shoulder, open up the elbow, look up towards the sky. Using your hand that's on the ground to ground you. Exhale your heart towards the knee. Bring that right hand all the way down to the mat, and then walk your hands, using your hands. So very similar to before, just a little bit differently. Over towards the left or the right, the opposite side. Right hand comes to the mat, and then sweep the left arm up and open. So you're looking up underneath, and then stretch that left arm towards the right side of the mat. So a big stretch here. One more time, just like that, folding the heart down, bring that left hand to the mat, and then walking your hands across the top of the mat. Using your right arm to open up the heart, look up, and then reach that right arm overhead. Beautiful. Coming back through center. Both hands are on the mat here. Unhook your legs. Go ahead and sweep them out in front of you. Taking a nice long stance with the feet. Heels are pushing out away from you. Using your hands to pull down over the legs. Walking the fingertips towards the knee. Dropping the head. Melting down over the legs. Using that breath to create that length in the spine. So every inhale, you create length. So maybe you lift up out of the fold slightly. And then as you exhale, you melt down over the legs. Inhale, come all the way back up, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to step the right foot to the outside of that left leg. Scoop the left arm either around the front of the knee, and it's early, it's cold. Scoop that hand around, and then reach that right arm behind you. Using it to press your spine long, look over your right shoulder. Coming back through center. Beautiful. Keeping that right leg on top, just slide that ankle so it's right over the knee, and then bring that left foot in so that you get a nice stretch through the outside of that right glute. And then maybe using your hand to scoot your booty towards your heel and enjoy that figure 4 stretch. So you control how much of a stretch you get here. Using your hands to help you walk back very slightly. Slide that left foot out long. The right leg is going to need it. Maybe a little bit longer. Left foot comes across. Let's take that twist to the other side. So we're just going to hook that right elbow, snuggle that knee in towards your heart space. Look out over the left shoulder. Feel that stretch through the left side body. Every time you inhale, see if you can create a little bit of space between the ribs. And then as you exhale, use that space to look a little deeper over the shoulder. Nice. Find that figure 4 on the opposite side. So just squeezing yourself a little bit closer to your heels. Use your hands to rock you forward. Maybe take a little side to side here. That feels really nice too. Go ahead and Slide that right foot out, release that left foot. Let's find our way to a tabletop shape. So get a little bit more opening here. So your knees are underneath your hips. We're going to come down onto our forearms. So we call this puppy pose. The elbows are right underneath the shoulders. The fingers are splaying nice and wide. And then once you have the shoulders stacked, you're going to walk your knees back slightly, but you're going to do your best to keep your shoulders over your elbows. So it feels a little awkward at first until you realize that we're going to start to fold down. Actually, I need to walk my elbows just a little bit further forward. And then we're just going to fold down between the arms and reach the heart towards the mat. So you're going to start to push back into the hips and away from the elbows. So it's going to create a little bit of an angle from the elbows to the shoulders. It feels really good. I like to keep my chin tucked here, but if you have a little bit more space, you might bring the chin down to the mat and arch the back a little bit more. For me, that shape doesn't really appeal to me. I like to keep my forehead on the mat. Beautiful. Using your hands on the mat, you're going to look forward, start to walk those knees back in underneath your hips. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, and we'll take a few rounds of cat-cow. Pressing, pushing. Inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the heart. Exhale to round. Inhale to lift. Nice. And then let's find a neutral spine. Walk your left hand underneath and let's thread the needle. So just sliding that right arm underneath, come down onto the right shoulder, the right side of your face. Left arm is going to stay straight this time. So walk your left arm out in front of you. The palm on the right hand is reaching up towards the sky and we're sitting back into the hips. Go ahead and walk your left hand back underneath the shoulder. Press into the mat. Let's scoop this right arm up and open. Enjoy that twist. And if your arm only comes up halfway, that's okay. If you can open up all the way, go ahead and do that. Both hands come down. Let's just thread that left arm underneath. So scoop that left arm underneath. Reach the right arm overhead, walking the fingers out towards the top of your mat. Walk your hands back underneath the shoulder. Scoot the left arm out and up. Open up. Enjoy that twist. Look up maybe. Notice differences from side to side. And then bring both hands down to the mat. We're going to curl the toes under and sit back. Walking your hands back to your knees. Sitting back either onto your knees or using your hands in front of you. Whatever works here. Sweep the arms around behind you. Interlace the fingers. And pressing the thumbs into the back, squeeze the elbows together as you sit back and down. Nice. And tuck your chin here. Nobody's favorite shape at all. Beautiful. Go ahead and release the hands. Come all the way back down on your hands. Do that little tap. And then we're going to step that right foot forward. So right foot comes to the top of the mat. Hands on either side of that knee or that foot, and then slide the left knee back. So you can stay here. We're just doing some gentle stretching into the front of the back leg and the back of the front leg. So if you want to keep your hands on the mat here, you can absolutely do that, and you can keep your knee down. I'm just going to rock a little side to side to start to open up into that hip. If you want to work a little bit stronger into the stretch, or if you need a little bit more, you're going to lift that back knee to find this rocking motion. Just a teeny tiny little back and forth here. Go ahead and bring that left knee to the mat. Using your hands to give you some space, we're just going to heel toe that right foot all the way over towards the left side of the mat, and then lower that knee to the mat. And now we're in our pigeon shape. I have to come up with this like creative ways to get people into the shape because nobody likes it. So once we get, I have to trick you guys to get there. So once you find your version of the pigeon, you can stay here up nice and tall and turn this into a back bend. That's a nice, juicy, active shape. If you're feeling like you need just a little bit less today, you can come down onto your forearms on top of the block or on top of the mat and just melt down over the arms. Be heavy here. Coming back to the present, coming back to your breath. Focus on the positive, the focus on moving around on your mat, getting something accomplished today. Feeling good about your day. Walking your hands underneath your shoulders. So we're going to continue the travels with this right foot over towards the right. We're just going to lift up off that leg and then start to straighten that leg out towards the right. With a bit of an intense stretch on the IT band, you're going to reach out that right leg. We're not going to do this too long. And then start to lower the hips down to the mat when you feel that stretch. Nice. And then bend the knee. Pull it back into place, underneath your hip. Find your way back to that tabletop. Just take a few rounds of cat-cow just to reset and flow. So pressing into the mat, using your own cadence of the breath. Inhale to lift. Start to tuck and round. Feeling very fluid through this stretch. Last one, let's step that left foot forward in between the hands. Slide the right knee back slightly, and then staying either on the fists or the fingers here. You can rock back and forth. You can lift that knee up. You want to keep concentrating on the hip, pushing down towards the mat. This is really a lot of hip flexor work here on that back leg, some hamstring stretching on that front leg. Maybe a little side to side, a little strengthening and stretching. Let's find our way to that pigeon. Walking the foot all the way over towards the right side of the mat, and then lowering that knee to the mat, lowering the back knee to the mat. First, take your back bend here. Push the hands into the mat, lift the heart. Square off your shoulders, square off your hips, and then lower down, finding your pigeon pose. hands underneath your shoulders, walking yourself back into this pigeon. Curl the right toes under, and then you're going to slide that left foot over towards the right, lower the hip to the mat, and take that stretch. So it's really intense, but it's really productive of a stretch. Your hands are shaking. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and slide that knee back underneath, and let's sit back into a child's pose. Big toes together, knees nice and wide. Sit back, sit down. I'm going to bring my fists underneath my forehead and settle in between the thighs, maybe gently rocking from side to side. Walking your hands out in front of you from the shape, starting to slide forward on your mat. Scoop the knees underneath you and walk them back so that you can lower all the way down onto the mat, onto your belly. Hands underneath your elbow or underneath your shoulders, using your palms to press you up. Find a little back bend here. So back bends are very energizing, especially when you start to lift the heart. So maybe a little cobra here. And then lowering down. Beautiful. Stack your hands underneath your forehead. Let your forehead rest on the hands and just melt down over the arms, letting the back completely melt. I'm going to do that one more time, walking the hands underneath the shoulders. If you want to take it a little bit bigger, for a little bit more energy, you can slide the hands back a little bit behind the ribs, elbows still squeeze behind you. And then I like to curl my toes under for the extra power here. And then inhale, straight arm up. And then once you find your way into that up dog, you can go ahead and fold the feet under and find that upward facing dog. Very, very energizing. Knees come down. Sit back into that child's pose. One more moment. And then go ahead and scoop your way onto your back. Knees come forward. Legs come forward, all the way down onto your back. Scoop the knees in. Give yourself a nice little Apanasana hug. If you prefer a happy baby here, you can certainly take that. The Apanasana is quite nice. I'll take one more energizing twist to each side, bringing the feet down a little bit wider than your hips. Knees are over your ankles-ish, or in line there. Your feet are a little bit wider than your hips, almost to the outside of your mat. And just let the legs fall to the left. You can bring your arms up overhead in happy baby, arms overhead, or cactus, or goalpost. Sweeping the legs over to the opposite side. Coming back through center, pulling the knees into the heart space, grabbing behind the knees, and then rocking yourself up as many times as it takes to come up to seated. Sitting back in any shape that calls to you. We'll take a few moments of breath here to create a positive mindset for the day. Shoulders roll back and down. Eyes closed, chin tucks. Coming back to that breath, that 3-part breath that we did as we began, inhaling through the nose, reaching the crown of the head nice and long. Exhaling everything completely out. Exhaling all the toxins, all of the negativity, everything you don't need. And then pausing at the bottom. And then starting fresh with a new inhale. Every breath is a new opportunity to cleanse, a new opportunity to flush out that which you don't need. Creating that pause at the bottom of each breath so that you can start anew. As you move through your day, noticing these little cycles as they come up. You have all of these cycles from breakfast to lunch and lunch to dinner, from morning to noon, noon to evening, evening to night. All of these new opportunities, these mini cycles throughout your day, creating a little pause in between so that you have that fresh mindset. You have that outlook, that clear outlook for what comes next without letting them blend. Building these into your day, perhaps even building little mini brain breaks throughout your day. Bringing your hands to heart center, allowing your breath to just come as it will. Taking 5 rounds of breath in the manner that feels best to you, without any technique, without anything attached to it. As our practice comes to a close, we have a new opportunity for the next thing to begin. So taking that fresh, clean slate with you through the rest of your Wednesday, another mini cycle, right? Beginning of the week, end of the week. Taking that with you through the rest of your week. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Namaste.